The streets of Corinth Prime were never kind. Even in the city's so-called civilized districts, neon advertisements flickered like false promises, and the smell of ionized fuel and burnt metal hung heavy in the air. Veteran James Keller knew this world all too well. He had fought in the Outer Rim conflicts, seen worlds burn, and survived betrayals that could make a man lose faith in everything but tonight. Something smaller, quieter, and far more personal called for his attention. "Dad." A small, trembling voice called from the back of the hover. "She's freezing." James turned his gaze to the rear seat, where his 10-year-old daughter, Lyra, peered through the tinted window at the shadowed alleyway. There, curled in a bundle of tattered blankets, sat a humanoid figure unlike any James had ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly under the city lights, an opalescent blue with streaks of silver, and her eyes were large, golden and luminous, betraying exhaustion and fear. "She's an alien," Lyra whispered. James's hand tightened around the steering wheel. "Yeah," he said softly, "and she's in trouble." The veteran didn't hesitate. His life had been forged in danger, but this was different. This was about compassion. He stepped out of the car, Lyra clutching his hand, and approached the alien woman. She shivered violently despite the thin layers of her clothing. James immediately took off his coat and draped it over her shoulders. "You're safe now," he said, his voice calm but firm. "Come with us." The woman's eyes widened in surprise. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. She simply allowed James to help her into the car. Lyra handed her a thermos of hot nutrient paste, and the alien woman slowly sipped it, her hands trembling. "What's your name?" James asked gently. She hesitated, then whispered in a melodic voice, "I am Soralia." "Soralia," James repeated, nodding. "You're safe. We'll get you warm and fed." That night, in their modest apartment, James cleaned her wounds, gave her proper clothing, and sat with Lyra as they tried to coax Soralia to eat more. Communication was difficult at first, but James had always been good with people, even if some of them were from entirely different star systems. Lyra, with her innate curiosity and unshakable kindness, soon had Soralia laughing softly at her clumsy jokes and silly attempts to teach the alien. Human games. Over the next few weeks, Soralia gradually revealed her story. She had fled her home planet after political unrest and persecution. Her family had been wiped out by mercenaries, and she had been surviving on the streets, moving from colony to colony, looking for work, shelter, or even just a safe corner to rest. James listened quietly, his jaw tight. He had seen horrors, yes, but there was something raw in her story that stirred a protective instinct he didn't know he had. And Lyra, well, she had already claimed Soralia as a friend and protector, showing her a world of simple joys she had never known. Months passed, and Soralia adapted to life with the human duo. James got her a legal identity under his guidance, and soon she was working at a small repair shop that James frequented. Her skills were astonishing. She could recalibrate energy cells, repair graviton stabilizers, and even optimize starship engines in ways that left seasoned mechanics in awe. James watched her work and realized that humanity was not just strong, it was compassionate, resilient, and capable of teaching even the most cautious beings to trust again. But Soralia's gratitude was quiet. She rarely spoke of her past pains, choosing instead to focus on the future. Lyra adored her, and James, despite himself, began to feel a bond forming that went beyond simple gratitude or obligation. Years went by. Soralia became an integral part of their lives. She and Lyra developed a sisterly bond, and James found in her a calm, intelligent presence that helped heal some of the scars from his military past. Together, the three of them formed a family, chosen family, that did not need blood ties to be real. One evening, James returned home from a long shift at the repair shop. He expected the apartment to be quiet, but instead, he was greeted with the hum of energy, engines, and a soft light emanating from the living room. "Dad." "Come here," Lyra called, her voice bubbling with excitement. James walked in and froze. There, standing with her usual grace, but dressed in sleek armor that shimmered with alien technology, was Soralia. Her golden eyes held a seriousness he had rarely seen. "I've been offered a position," she said softly, "on a planetary defense fleet. They need someone with my skills. Someone who can bridge human and alien technologies." James swallowed hard. Pride and fear collided in his chest. "That's incredible," he managed to say. Soralia's gaze shifted to Lyra, who clung to James's leg. "I will always come back," she promised. "I will always be part of this family." In that moment, James realized the depth of what they had built together. They had saved Soralia from the streets, yes, but, in truth, she had rescued them too. She had shown Lyra what courage, intelligence, and resilience truly looked like. And she had reminded James that compassion, even in a universe as vast and cruel as theirs, was a strength, not a weakness. Years later, when Soralia became one of the most renowned engineers in interstellar defense, she never forgot the human veteran and his daughter who had given her a home. She would often return, bringing gifts of alien tech and stories of distant stars. But most importantly, she returned with a reminder: in the galaxy's darkest corners, humanity could shine brighter than any star. And every time she came back, James would see that same golden-eyed gratitude, and Lyra would run into her arms, laughing and shouting, "I told you she'd come back." In the end, Soralia didn't just survive because James and Lyra had helped her. She thrived. And in doing so, she proved a truth that the universe sometimes tried to hide. Humanity wasn't defined by the battles it fought or the worlds it conquered. It was defined by the hearts it touched and the lives it saved, because sometimes saving one life was enough to change the course of many, many more. Asterisk.